Chairman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you. It's a big honor to be here. I've got some slides running in the background which are just going to keep on scrolling. What they are photos of Latitude. So I know some of you know Latitude, an awful lot of you won't. We're a new group, we're a new brand. We've been around for, sorry about that. We've been around about 3.5 years. What are we trying to do? And more specifically, I've been asked to talk about the brand and really how that works. What we're trying to do is we want to be the go-to sub-Saharan Africa boutique lifestyle brand. Work, stay, play. We're going for contemporary hotels, as you can see, fresh, lively designs. We are tailoring the offering for each city we go into, for the fact pattern of that city, where the demand is for work, stay, and play. I'll come on to it in a minute. What we've got is, I think, something rather different. I know some of you here have stayed in our first 2 hotels. They're a bit Marmite. Some people love them. Some people go, not really for me. Let's see. What we do have, though, is a very strong ethical and CSR underpinning. I do apologize for these photos. We've got a French photographer who gets very, very excited and slightly goes off-piste. So, very strong CSR. We sponsor academies, training, local schools, academies. We have all the furnishings. You can see there the screens. They're all made by women's cooperatives. We've got one which we sponsor called Katundu on Lukomo Island in Malawi. It's entirely run and owned by essentially widows of AIDS families, and we are the largest customer for them. So as you can see, all the soft designs and furnishings up there come from there. We don't do that so people like us. We think that's what we should do, and that's who we are. And that's a very strong element in our theme. Who do we cater to? Corporate, embassies, a lot of NGOs. NGOs like us a lot. Regional corporates, embassies. We're probably only about 15% at any point in time. Tourism. We don't really have much in the MICE space at all. So this is very much regional embassy, NGO, governmental traffic. So we're pitching at around the type of 4-star, the 4-star level. The brand. Yesterday, W Hospitality, their 2017 report, they said 9 countries in Africa have no branded hotels at all. And if I wrote it down correctly, 8 are only represented by 1 brand. So for boutique hotels, there is really no single brand that is going across sub-Saharan Africa purely from a SSA perspective. So we want to break that. We've been around since 2014, and we want to be the go-to space. So we're a young owner-operated brand. How are we going to do this with the brand? Brands, as you know, are ephemeral. They're very, very hard to establish, and they're even harder to maintain. So what do? We've taken so far what I call the Apple model. So we have the hardware and the software entirely tightly linked. We buy the land, we design the hotels, we build the hotels with some help for a few construction people. We then operate the hotels and we flag them under Latitude. So we have complete control, for the time being, of what we're doing. We are also keeping a very tight regional focus. We don't want to try and dilute this. We're too small. We can't afford to go everywhere. We've got a very, very clear focus. We're going to stay in sub-Saharan Africa. So we want people to say, Latitude, oh yeah, that's the boutique brand across sub-Saharan Africa. What we've done is what we call work, stay, play. So, as I said earlier, the fact pattern of each city has typically a very different series of touch points on a city-by-city basis. So in some, we found, for example, in Lusaka, very strong demand for a private members club. So we've launched a sub-brand called The Other Side, and we now have a pretty successful private members club, which is linked to the side of the hotel. And that's where people can swipe their card, and the doors open, and there are a couple of photos up there of the Other Side Club in Lusaka. Then in certain areas we found that people want co-working space. So they don't really want to take a lease, they don't want a Regus because a Regus is a box, they want something slightly different. So again, we've got some photos up there of what we call the works. So that's unashamedly ripping off from Soho Works and WeWorks, but on the basis of very much with a Latitude flavor in terms of the design and the style. So far, what have we done? Well, we built one in Lilongwe in Malawi, and we've built one in Lusaka in Zambia. They've been, I think, pretty successful so far. Yeah, we're pleased. We were the runner-up for Best Hotel in Malawi last year, and we were the runner-up for Best Hotel in Zambia last year. So some people obviously like us, or we've rigged the votes, I don't know. But that's what we've done so far. We are halfway through a build in Kampala. So Uganda will be our third territory. We're just about to acquire some land in Addis, and then we will be heading down to Nairobi. So that will finish our suite of the first 5. And what I'd like to see is you be able to walk into one and go, yeah, this is definitely a Latitude hotel, but it's different to the last one I've been in. And that's really what we're trying to achieve at the moment. I think that's it in terms of where we are, what we're trying to do. I hope you, and that is a live horse, by the way. I was not happy when I found out it was a live horse in the bar. And I'm very happy to take any questions you've got. And if you do have the opportunity, please come down. We'd be delighted to see you in either of our hotels. Thank you. Yeah, there's a question down here.
Question there.
How do you handle global distribution?
How do we handle global distribution? It's quite interesting because we're only about 15% tourism. So very much, an awful lot of our traffic is either in-country or regional. So we deal with a number of the ground handler operators. But more interestingly, we found the most effective way of distribution for us has been direct sales. I mean, it sounds daft. We have, for example, in Lusaka, one sales lady who does nothing but drive around embassies and corporates with brochures and a laptop or iPad with a scrolling presentation. And we go off and she comes back. The Swedish embassy, we've just taken 400 bed nights, come back from this embassy, this NGO. Also, we found, perversely, the word of mouth through the corporates has worked extraordinarily well. So, yeah, we've got the OTAs, which we use, but again, they're a very, very small part of our distribution. And we found that direct dealing with the fact pattern of each city has been the most effective route so far. I think that will change as we get more and more over time, but that's really what works so far.